I decided to create a face mask to solve the problem that I found of uncomfortable, low quality, and quite ugly face masks being used during the COVID-19 crisis. So I identified this as my problem in the first stage, which is inquiring and analyzing. So after I identified this problem, I created a plan to solve it. I set a goal for myself, which is to create a face mask that is high quality, nice looking, and comfortable. So my research process started off with developing 6 guiding questions. These guiding questions are related to my 3 aspects of my goal. So for comfort, I said, what parts of existing face masks make it uncomfortable? Is it the cut or the fabric that affects comfort? For nice looking, I asked, what colors and fabric types match the majority of clothing? And what shape of face mask complements the average face best? For high quality and protectiveness, I wanted to know how many layers of fabric or what type of fabric does it take to filter out the most amount of particles, and what sort of design is durable and long lasting. I researched the answers to these questions using a variety of primary and secondary sources, as well as interviews from the people in my household, and I answered the questions, and using these answers, I created specifications based on the material, the user, the manufacturing process, etc. And I developed different ideas of what I wanted to create. I developed a wide range of ideas, but there was one that stood out to me, which was pretty much a fabric version of the regular face mask that you would get, the disposable type. I thought this was brilliant because it can stretch out this way, and it has little straps on it, and it's reversible. I thought that was amazing. But it didn't fit very well, and the straps were quite flimsy. It was also extremely difficult to make. It took a really long time to create each of these folds, and overall it just wasn't the type of product I wanted to make. So I used what I learned in making this one to design my second initial design type. So I created 5 different types of design that were a different shape and had a different type of manufacturing process. And then I created my final design based on the pro-con list I made for each of those 5 initial designs. What I came up with was a curved top, a flat bottom, elastic straps that are sewn directly into the product, and a curve across the face that can fit the nose and mouth nicely. So I decided on my final design, and I moved into creating the solution. So in creating the solution, I identified my tools and materials that I wanted to use. For my tools, I have scissors, pins, sewing machine. Then the materials that are used to make the face mask itself is the 2 different layers of fabric. So I have the world map pattern, and then I have blue polka dots because I wanted my face mask to be reversible. So I have 2 different layers that are colorful. So I created a paper design pattern that I used to trace onto the fabric itself. I cut out those pieces, then I sewed along the curved edge after pinning it in place. Then using both of those pieces, I put them good side to good side and sewed along the perimeter of the face mask, leaving a little bit of a hole so that I could reverse my mask. Then I sewed up that hole, and voila! Here is the completed design. It's fully reversible. Elastic straps are a decent length, a curve, as I mentioned. It fits pretty well. I tried it out on everyone in my family, and it fit all of their faces really nicely, so I decided that this was a perfect design that could fit most people pretty well. Then I moved on to the evaluating process. So in my evaluating process, I tested out my product by putting a little bit of flour inside of it and using a hairdryer to see how much of the fabric passed through. This determined how protective it was, and while it wasn't as protective as I had hoped it would be, it still did the job pretty well and is a good face mask for going on a walk or going to the grocery store, although I wouldn't recommend to use it in a place where you know you'd be at risk, like going to the doctor. Then I compared it to the specifications I set for myself, and it matched almost perfectly. The only thing that I would say, which is an improvement that I would want to make, is that it would fit the user's face perfectly. Although this isn't necessarily that much of a setback because it fits most people's faces pretty well, so I think it's a good design. Although if I was making it for one specific person, I think I'd want to have it more tailored. Overall, I found the product extremely successful, and the impact it could make would be immense. If this product were to be used on a wide scale, it would potentially stop the spread of COVID-19, it could save jobs, it could help the economy. So really, I think that this is a very, very successful product. Thank you!